All right, so when it's nice, do it twice, right? Back kind of early. As figure it's a long weekend, so I want to jump on one time and get episode 2 cracking. Let me start by saying thanks for so much of feedback and support from a lot of people. It was surprising how much responses I got about the first episode. And a lot of feedback, just a lot of positive, some criticism, constructive criticism. People call and say, they like what I'm doing, they like the idea, some ways to make it better. I always open to that. So I really appreciate it. People reach out on Facebook, people who I ain't talked to in a long time to call me. It's sometimes surprising to know people who you might be talking to all the time, how much they still know you and they're part of your lives. People who I'd never expected to hear from and call with real encouraging words and just to give support. So I really, really appreciate that, and it have me inspired to continue doing it and see how we could continue to improve. I got a lot of technical help too, thanks to my boy Iniko from Premier Studios. Salute to him for a lot of help with the audio and trying to figure out how, because a lot of people give me some feedback about the audio and some things that weren't great. So he was able to help with that. I really appreciated that. And the website that is hosted on, what I sent out was the hosting site where the podcast is hosted. So I'm still working out. I got the YouTube figured out eventually. So I have the YouTube page. It's just the Corey Shepherd podcast until that changed. And you could just log in and take it in on YouTube. So that should hopefully be a better user experience where you could stop wherever you want and restart there. Some people told me anytime you stop or you come out to the site, you couldn't get back to the correct listening position. I'm also working on getting Apple Podcast up and Google, as well as on SoundCloud and everything. So make it as available as much as possible on as much platforms so that you get the best listening experience. Yeah, once I could figure out those things and it's improving on the listener experience, I think we onto something. So we just keep it rolling and keep doing it week to week, and we'll see where it goes. I'm hoping that as the episodes roll on, I could continue to get any feedback or any criticism. I'm pretty open to it and willing to make whatever adjustments it make to make the final product better. And yeah, just keep it coming. The more the merrier. But one of the things I find was interesting this week to observe is that when your partners call you with feedback, your brethren, is a different kind of feedback. Man, different. Men basically calling you and it's like, yeah, boy, the podcast is good. That's a good idea. You could real talk, boy. My partner might tell me, boy, I drop asleep and I wake up, you still talking. He's like, oh, you going to talk? He's like, what are you going to talk about next week? And partners just call you and tell you, hey, the thing's sounding good, boy. Keep it up, boy. Congrats. I'm glad you get off the ground. Follow your dream. Men has just come up with little cliche things to say because they ain't really listening. So it's like, yeah, that's a good idea. Thing's sounding real good, boy. Man, just listen to the first 5 minutes and you're getting some support, but I appreciate that still. But women, on the other hand, fellas, we had to step up our game because women sending you a full breakdown. It's like at minute 6:14, you're saying this, and I hear you breathing at minute 10. You had to figure out that, and I really appreciate that because I think that kind of feedback is what will help me develop it into something that's useful and helpful and entertaining to listen to, But so, fellas, we had to step up the game on the feedback. But I appreciate it all, and I think women. The other thing with women I find was interesting is that as a fella, all my life, women tell me, "Boy, listen, the thing too short. It was short, so short." And all of a sudden, women is like, "It's too long." It's the first time I ever hear a woman say too long in my life. But I'm listening, and I appreciate it. So here's the compromise. I'm going to shoot for the 2 hours as I told you last week. And the reason I'm saying 2 hours is because I'm not going to kill you with more and more of my voice. I'm going to get the guests in, I'm going to get co-hosts in and everything and make it into a better experience than falling asleep and waking up to my voice. That can be good. And once we get that done, the interviews and those things will take up a portion of it, as well as my me talking about whatever the current issues are, and that's how we shape it going forward. So it's a work in progress. I'll get video done. We'll get a lot of good suggestions, and we will work on it hoping that we could just build on each episode. And I could feel now where they used to talk about artists having a sophomore album. I'm feeling like under more pressure in this episode than the first one. The first one, I had a kind of just do it attitude and put it out however it is. Now I'm worried. I keep deleting this thing and trying to get right and getting the sound right and everything going. And I mean, it is what it is. We'll see. Once it continuing, I think like everybody, a lot of people tell me just keep doing it. You know what I mean? Consistency is king. One of the things that women told me a lot is that I need to deal with more women issues. I am a boy. So, and let me say this too. If I had to deal with women issues, let me get these things sorted out with female co-hosts and contributors and stuff, because I ain't going to put myself in no problems because I not going to have the popular female opinion. It's going to be unpopular and it probably ain't going to be welcome. So I don't want to deal with these issues. And then secondly, when I recording this, Stacy home. So I not going to talk about no relationship, nothing for everybody. And then I end up pressure the whole week until I come back here and then all these only people I could talk to. I'm not doing it. But women is a strange thing I see happening with women on my timeline this week, which I can't help but talk about. Because in the midst of this whole thing with COVID, and I hope everybody keeping safe and the families safe out there locally and abroad, and whatever stage you're at in terms of your reopening of your country or reopening of businesses, I hope everybody just taking care of themselves. Locally here, I've seen a lot of people wearing masks and trying to do the right thing, wash your hands before you go into places and everything. And I mean, some people, yes, kind of acting like if we over it, which I don't think we are. But I think we be heading in the right direction at least. And most people seem to be respecting the rules or the guidelines, which is good. But an interesting thing happened with my female friends on my timeline this week. Because in COVID, one of the issues that came up was the rise in domestic violence. It's so interesting now when everybody home. It wasn't one of the things that came to the forefront of my mind at all. I guess I ain't violent. I don't like violence generally. So I wasn't thinking about it. But if you're in a relationship that's abusive already, and now you have to stay home with that person, that gonna get dark fast. You could see how that not gonna be great. That's going to be a problem. And I remember in the States in particular, they were talking about most of the calls to 999. What they have, 911? Yeah, most of the 911 calls were about domestic violence, and that's sad. It's rough, and it made me reflect myself. You know what I mean? I've never been a violent person. I ain't putting my hands on no man. I don't support it in any way. All jokes aside. But there's a couple of things that come to mind for me when you try to figure out like what leads to some of those things. Like one of the things, and this is just my assessment of myself. Clearly, I'm not an expert on this. But as a younger fellow, I feel like that notion that you own people is a contributor to poor relationships, which I've had a few of. And the poor on my side. Because, you know, this possession thing where it's my girlfriend and my wife and my child and my mother and my money and my job, we have a tendency to want to own things and to hold on to the things that we own. And I feel for me is an unhealthy thing, because I hear Hoppy say this on the radio all the time. You don't own nothing and you don't own anybody. I find for me is a better approach, because that notion that somebody that you own give themselves away to somebody else, and them things can't be healthy for me. I think it leads to a lot of toxic situations, and as the older I get and the more I realize that I don't own anything, and when I leave here, I'm leaving with nothing. I think that helped me to just calm down in relationships and understand that, hey, the person is their own person. Your child is his own person. And your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend, they're their own person. You can. And the other thing too is the notion that you could change people. You know, sometimes you see somebody and you like the person, but I mean, I can admit to myself that a lot of times I see signs of danger and signs saying you turn and take a walk in the road and take the opposite side, or what. I see a lot of signs and I say, boy, listen, she could become what I want her to become. I could work on her. And it's like, dude, listen, hey, you see that idea that you could work on somebody else? If you, for me, it's like, if I feel I could work on somebody else, it's because I need to work on myself. Anytime I think I could work on anybody, I need a little more work on my own being. It just don't work that way. And like for men, I can't talk for women, right? Women, when you all come on, you talk your part. But for men, or for me, a lot of the things starts with attraction, some type of physical attraction. Nice face and your nice body and your voice and your teeth straight and nice size and these kind of things. You get attracted and things. And sometimes you realize that the mind or the being or the soul or the spirit or the style or the vibe's not right. But you tell yourself that's easier to change than the body, you know what I mean? Once you get the good looks and thing, you say you could work around everything else. But you can't really change people. People change in their own time and at their own pace. And it mightn't be at your pace that you have your plan set out for your life. So I think that would have led to a lot of frustration for me over the years. I think the good thing now is that in modern times, like traditionally, we would watch the physical and then try to change the mental and thing as we go along. Nice thing is now the physical could change, you know what I mean? Let's have a lot of surgery. Check Mario Montoya, check Dr. Miami. A lot of things could happen with the physical. So maybe what we should look for, fellas, is look for the right attitude. Look for the right attitude and thing up front. And once you find that, it's nip and tuck. I'm joking. Don't get upset. When your ladies come on, you could... This is just between me and the fellas. When your ladies come on, you could say your part. But yeah, I think it's one of the things that looking at this time, it had to be a real difficult thing. All jokes aside, for anybody who going through that, and I mean, love to you, and I hope you find a way to reverse that situation or get out of that situation, male or female. Them things dark, But what I also find interesting is that while I know that all the women on my timeline are against that and nobody want to find themselves in that situation, man or woman, if you ask me. What I find real interesting is the amount of people who was talking about Massimo during the week here on Twitter, on Facebook, and Instagram. Apparently Massimo is the real McCoy. But I try to think of how people are against this idea. But all of a sudden, Massimo, if you don't know Massimo, they have a movie called Treats. Just a matter of fact, forget the movie. Go and look for Massimo. Just put it in your Instagram hashtag. Look for the hashtag and look for it on Facebook. And look at these women comments on Massimo. Is the greatest thing I see. So they have a movie called 365 on Netflix. Check, and the real spoiler alerts coming. So switch it off, skip forward, whatever you need to do. But Massimo is a fellow who basically had to say kidnap a woman and carry the woman home by him. He seen the woman wrong and he realized he dies the woman for him. So he kidnapped her, or he took her, carry her home by him. And he say, here is the scene. I'm giving you 365 days to fall in love with me. So if on your next birthday, though you're not in love with me yet, you could go back to your regular life. And I'm not going to do anything that's against your will while you're here. No, I thinking, dude, you kidnapped the woman. What do you mean you're not going to do nothing against how? I confuse. And this movie like going along and she's reasoning this thing out and she's trying to talk this thing through. And I mean, she frightened and thing to her, but she frightened, but she intrigued. And even before he kidnapped her, like he was showing up like a kind of... Any woman I know would have say he's a stalker, he's a creep, he me too. They would have come up with all the words. But for some reason, this girl is intrigued, or woman is intrigued by this fella. Her boyfriend and treating her too good too, you know how I go. But he have this way when he come up to her, he's saying, are you lost, little girl? Are you lost? And this girl is like, but she's scared, but she interested. And I thinking, boy, listen, how it is women so intrigued by this movie and this idea? Why is there no outrage about this? Why is this a thing? I don't understand. A woman, when only come on, you help me. I don't understand. And I can't help but think, if Massimo was a Trini, if it was just Machimo, a Trini dude, I wonder if he could get away with something like that, boy. You know what I mean? You see, you're going through town, and you see a woman down on the promenade, and the woman look nice, and you see, are you lost, little girl? And you know what I mean? And then eventually, when she passing down the city gate side, you pull up in a car and you take her and you carry her home by you and you say, listen, you see by your birthday next year, away you fall in love. Boy, listen, you know what kind of mayhem it will have in this country? It's a strange thing. I don't understand it, but people... So I'm trying to figure out what is different about Massimo that we're not going to get that done down here? And the first thing I come up with is the accent. I don't think the Trinbagonian accent conducive to this kind of scenario, you know what I mean? Because when he come up and he's like, you lost little girl. A Trini insane. We've seen Smalley, a loss away for. I don't think that work. I don't think you will get the same reaction that Massimo get. I'm not sure. The accent might be the first thing that working against it. I think the next thing is like, I think your money had to be right. I mean, fellas, I don't know if you all watch the show. Even if you don't watch the show, you could picture the kind of house he take her to and the kind of vehicle he take her in and stuff. I'm not sure that my car could work for this scenario, and then you come with a little small zanga banger and a little bed push up in a corner. I don't know that is just a different feel, I suppose. So I guess your money and your power and your influence had to be good enough for people to see this as a good thing. Plus, your style, you know, Massimo is a stylish guy. He had a little 5 o'clock shadow. His beard not looking like mine, all patchy all over the place. And he have a nice suit, you know what I mean? Well dressed and nice shoes. And if your style not right, I don't think this will be the move for you, for that person who you have your eye on, you know? So if you're wearing Jordans of any kind, don't be Massimo. No Jordans, no Air Force Ones, no Flight, nothing. Don't wear none of them shoes now. If you have on a Hirachi, don't try to be Massimo. You know what I mean? It mightn't work out too good for you. The style thing, you really had to get past that. So if you don't have the combination of them things, better you go and ask nicely and to go out and you take your blank like normal and you move on. You know what I mean? Don't get yourself involved in that. But I'm looking forward, because I couldn't go too far in the movie, you know, I might have make it to 20 minutes. Because spoiler alert again, when I see that shower scene and I realize, but wait, this girl going along with this thing. I mean, I sure it had plot twists and stuff, but I couldn't watch no more. I was good. I think whatever I see up to there, that is about it for me and Massimo. So you had to tell me your thoughts on it, and I'm sure it was, if it was a great movie, then good. But I would love to see a local version of that Massimo. You know, if I were George, I'd make, when you do Soca Prison, he do a movie with that. The people would have vexed, boy, but so it goes. The Massimo is a sweet boy, so he could do them things and get away. But anyway, I know how rich quite there. That was not. I really come to thank everybody for all the feedback and ladies. You see that level of detail in the feedback. I don't know if I could ask for that all the time. I know you all don't have time to do that all the time or to listen to it all the time. But I really appreciate it, and all your feedback are taken on board. I'll work on it as I go along. So the most important thing to me that happened in this country this week is to see a street renamed Austin Lyons. That make me feel good. I feel proud. I almost feel like it's me. I feel even more proud because it's the street he born and grew up on in Point Fortin, they say. I mean, how much of a feeling? You could imagine that. Imagine the streets where you grew up and all the people who live there and stuff. Imagine you go and you accomplish something, boy. And they call you home and they tell you, listen, I'm renaming the street after you. What kind of, that must be a euphoric feeling, boy. Among all the other achievements he had, that had to be a real great feeling for him, man. I don't think that you couldn't deserve it more than somebody like Super Blue, more than somebody like us. He's a legend, a local legend, Trinbagonian legend. And the music, that will live on forever. Now we have a street that will live on forever. Like, I mean, I wouldn't have known his start. His start would have been 80 with Soca Baptist and winning Road March with it too. And overall, he won 10 Road March over the years. And you know what's interesting about Super Blue? Super Blue win Road March in the 80s, 90s, the 2000s, between 2000 2010, and then between 10 and 20 with Soca Kingdom collaboration. Boy, I wonder, what you think? He could make 5 decades in a row? That would be impressive to win Road March in 5 decades. I don't know if anybody ever do that before. Maybe Kitchener, I suppose. But that's real impressive, man. And that legendary status, to crown that off with a street in your honor, you have 6 Soca Monarch titles. I don't know if anybody ever see Super Blue, or if you all remember seeing Super Blue in Soca Monarch and them thing, or when he touch a stage, the energy and the vibe he brings to a stage, it's spiritual, it's different. I remember being in a fete a couple of years ago in the Oval, I want to say it's Black to Blue or Eyes Wide Shut. One of them fetes where you had to wear all black or something like that. And the fete, something wasn't right with the vibes in the fete on a whole. And I mean, I like fetes, so I don't like the I don't think it's not to say stush fete, but people just wasn't enjoying themselves. You know, even a stush fete where people ain't getting on bad, you could still see people enjoying themselves and having a time. Something was off in that fete. Everybody was just standing up looking at the stage. The energy wasn't there. And I remember Asylum Band being on the stage at the time. And they was doing the thing, but nothing happening in the fete. The fete just a little bleh. And they called Super Blue on the stage, boy. And that would be after he was absent for some time. I mean, I know he's a man with his issues just like me and everybody else. But he was out off the scene for a little bit, but they called him out on the stage. And he came out almost grateful to Bungie and Fayan at the time, who Asylum lead singers. And come out almost grateful to them. It's almost like if they are the legends and he was glad somebody called him out. And they were trying to honor him and bring him out to the people and stuff. And from the time he walked on, the energy in the fete changed. It didn't turn into a fete immediately, but a certain amount of anticipation and almost like reverence come on to see the legend walk on, you know? And he talk and he say how much he love his daughter and he love his son-in-law. And Bungie so good to him, and it come like his son. And he was going on and on. It was going on for a little while. It was kind of weird. At that point, he was trying to figure out what was happening in this fete. And I mean, Bungie, I guess a real showman, he eventually hold him and he say, boss. And now, so at this point, Super Black back turned to the crowd. He facing Bungie and his back turned to us. And Bungie come in front of him. He say, boss, we love you and everything. I know you're talking to me. He say, but where you talk to them and point at the crowd, boy. And then Super Blue just almost, I don't know how the band, that couldn't be rehearsed, boy. When he say, oh, where you talk to them, Super Blue just spin around and point at the crowd and say, shake, girl, promise me. Shake. Listen, the fete, from that point on, is a full-on fete. I don't know too much artists, and with all due respect to every artist there, I don't know too much artists that have that effect on a crowd that Super Blue had. That song, Ethel, is a song from the 80s. If you don't know it, Google it, right? To come in a fete in this era and go back to that, I mean, it's just classics, eh? But for that to be the song that kick off the fete with so much big artists on that card and having hit songs in the year that going contending for Road March and things, to go back to Ethel, and boy, listen, is one of the greatest moments I have ever had in a fete. I have plenty of fete moments to talk about here, but that was one of the best ones, man. I mean, it's an absolute legend, and we couldn't ask for. There's nothing that we could do as a society, I feel, that would be overdoing it or too much for somebody like Super Blue. And if you left up to me, I mean, I'm sure Point 14, the name has its significance and its own history and so on, but if you leave it up to me, I call the whole of the Point 14, I just call the Lyons Deniers and name, I want the next street name Fayan Street and then Terry Street and every Lion, you know what I mean? I just find that there's not, how much is too much for somebody who do so much? I don't know. And it make me wonder, because all this happened right in the midst of this discussion with Christopher Columbus. It's strange how these things is happening in our society, because I feel so proud to see Super Blue get honored as a legend that he is. And at the same time, people having a debate about whether Columbus should be honored or have a statue, or the things that are named after Columbus and other people like him should be removed. And I think there are lots of people, like I said last week, right? I like listening to both sides and hearing people out. And I think one of the points I hearing people making about keeping monuments like Columbus is that it's part of our history, and he's been, you know what I mean? We can't erase history, and it's part of who we are and stuff. And I agree with that. I think it is part of our history and all that. And I hear my boy Javier Carbosa, that's the Spanish ambassador. He was coming out and saying how disappointed he would be if they remove Columbus statue, and he man will feel heartbroken, and so because he, you know what I mean. And just to talk about their perspective, right? I want us to put ourselves in his shoes for a second. Javier Barbosa. He and his countrymen, I mean, Columbus was Italian, but the expedition or whatever the journey was funded by the Spanish and really driven by them. And they honor him a lot. And I could see why, because if you have a countryman who went and conquer lands on your behalf, and imagine if we had a Trinidad a man went and conquer, I mean, it sounds so strange to say, just go and conquer Grenada. No, we own Grenada and all that. Sounds odd. But we might honor the people, or we might feel that reverent feeling for somebody who has done a lot on our country behalf. Let me make a bad comparison, right? When Keshawn Walcott go there and conquer people on that stage, or conquer people, or Atto go and conquer people, we have a great feeling for them. And I could understand why everybody would have a great feeling. And these fellas will have a great feeling for Christopher Columbus, because as far as they're concerned, he helped build the Spanish Empire. Now, you could feel that, right, Javier? But I want Javier to understand our viewpoint as well. Because when Keshawn beat people, Keshawn know all them fellas and competing with them all the time, and they're on equal standing, and he go and shake everybody's hand and he love them. You ever hear how Atto and Maurice Green is talk? Maurice Green beating Atto every week, and Atto running to hug him up and think that's sports, that's camaraderie. But when you, by your own account, Christopher Columbus, come and rape and pillage and plunder and disenfranchise people and take away what was their land and claim it in the name of a queen or a king, your queen and your king, without even, imagine this, you arguing with me, Javier, about wanting to take down a statue of Columbus, but when Columbus come here, Columbus and your people leave very little about the people who you come and meet here, which we call the first people, which they should never be called the first people. Or they will be the first people, they are the people. Why have a first and a second people? I don't understand that, but if they're comfortable with first people, it's cool, right? But without people like Columbus, it would not have no first people and no second people. It would just be people. So when you come here and you tear down all the monuments and all the artifacts of the people you meet here, you want to come and tell me now what monuments and artifacts I should keep of you? I don't understand. If you could help me understand that, Javier, we could be on the same page. Because it's ludicrous. I could understand why you see him as a hero, but here what we could do. We could come to a middle ground, I didn't know I like a middle ground. I don't like too much arguments and too much rab. I kind of like figuring things out. So I figure out something and you tell me how it's sung, right? Tell Javier, I say, it have a company called DHL and the next one called FedEx. Call DHL and FedEx, and we will give you the statues from all over the Caribbean and everywhere that all you say, all you conquer. You love them and you love him. We will give you all these statues. We will take them down gently. Don't mash it up. And you could call DHL and FedEx. I know my Spanish songing, and carry all them things home by you. It's plenty in this region alone, So take all. We will consolidate the shipment. I wonder if La Pacan is do consolidation to send back Spain and Italy. Consolidate all the statue, not just the statue, Columbus Circle, Columbus Square, Columbus Oval, and Rectangle. Put all of them together and send them back over in Spain. All you could honor all your partner and all the historian and all the legend and things. Send all those things back there. You know what you could do too? On the way, DHL, they could take their boat and drop out a few all over the Atlantic and wherever they pass with their boats. Drop them off in the Atlantic and thing where people, sailors of your origin, could see them and honor them there. But my brother, in my land, let me take all them things. We will take them down gently, right? We ain't gonna do him nothing, right? We ain't gonna do nothing to my boy Chris. Let Chris go back good, right? But let me put where they have it down there, because where this man find the land, they come and they put it here, he rediscover something. They're good. They're good. And them men arguing this in 20. What are we in? Them men arguing this, boy. So I say, move that and let me put Mighty Shadow statue there. Who been telling us how long now that Columbus lie? Why we don't put up his statue there? Why he don't get a monument so that we could honor him? He's part of our history too. Columbus is part of the history, yes, but that is a part of the history that I willing to put up on a pedestal and revere and tell a story about him and let youths know him, because I'm not going to be here forever, But what you want me to do? You want me to keep Columbus up on a statue and tell my son that he rediscovered? You want me to tell my son these things? My son is a smart little boy. He will Google that and then he will say, well, my father's a damn fool. Because they beat me to learn the name of these boats. I'm sure they beat you too. Licks in school if you don't know the name of the boats. And who's Christopher Columbus and where he come from. It's recently, I remember, I saying, is preparing for this. I saying, is Italy he come from? Spain? Or I don't care. That is not my concern. And let me say this to the people who, because I don't want to be disrespectful to the people who are historians and who saying that we should keep these things. This is my thing. You have spaces that people getting honored who have done the worst to the people who they come and meet here and for those of us who here today. So I say let us honor the people who doing the best for the people who they come and meet here and who they honor here today. So I remember if y'all could remember when they renamed Diamond Boulevard to Wendy Fitzwilliams Boulevard. I wonder if you could throw back our mind to that. Somebody went and black out that sign the day. Do you remember that? Somebody, I think they spray paint the sign black because they wanted it to remain Diamond Boulevard. I understand historian viewpoint, but I mean, I don't know. You know how I feel when they win that thing? I cry. From the time they say Miss Trinidad and Tobago, I start to cry. I can't see the TV. So the pride I feel, and I still feel that when I see Wendy now, I feel to hug up Wendy like Massimo. Just say, how are you, little girl? And just hug up Wendy and say thanks for what you do for this country. You know what I mean? And I find they should name. So how we could have a Queen Street. And that queen, the only queen I acknowledge is Stacey. So if I don't understand how we could have a Queen Street or why we need a Queen Street when we have a queen or we have somebody who is called the Prince of Port of Spain. But Prince Street in Port of Spain have nothing to do with him. He's our next prince. You know what I mean? And you see, left up to me, I change in all them things. I would change it. That's just my opinion. I don't know how you all feel, but I would change it because like somebody like Drupati, who would have contributed so much to what we do. I don't know if she have a monument or anything anywhere that we could look up to, that I could tell my son long after when she not with us anymore, when I not here no more, my son could see who she is and why she up on a pedestal in our country. That meaningful to me. And I'm not just talking soca artists or anything. I saying business people, politicians, artists of all genres and forms. So why we can't put them up? You only know a fellow named Leroy Clark. Where's statue, boy? Columbus have a statue in this country, and we don't have one on Leroy Clark, boy. I don't know, boy. I don't know how that could be a good thing to me. So Javier, I understand where you're coming from, you know. And for the historians here, my what I'm saying is not for us to erase the history that we have. It's Columbus a part of our history, yes. But let me tell a story real quick, right? I went to Atlanta a few years ago, and a partner of mine, salute my boy Edmund Thompson, who was living in Georgia at the time, took us to a museum. The museum is Atlanta Museum, right? It's about the city of Atlanta, or about the state of Georgia as a whole. And when we went in that museum, it was a surreal experience for me. As you walk into the museum, the first thing we saw in the entrance that we took is a Ku Klux Klan outfit. Speech getting a little complicated. KKK. And their outfit. They have the white mask and the gown or however you call it. And it's not just on display, it's on a mannequin that's about 6.5 feet tall, maybe 3 feet wide. It's a big dude. And what they did was, the Americans are really good at preserving their history, preserving the things that came from eras of old. So it wasn't just a suit that they made. It was an actual suit that what they would call a grandmaster would wear. And when I say actual suit, you're seeing blood stains on the suit, right? Who blood do you think that is, boy? when you walk into that place, like me and some partners there and thing, and as we walk in and you see that, all of us get quiet immediately. At that point, nobody said a word when we saw that thing. It's like, what is this? And I suppose Edmond he knew what it was because he had been there before, but he wanted us to see this. And I think he would know, as a black man himself, he know the feeling we would have when we walk in there. And listen, your blood running cold because you're standing up and this thing is towering over you and looking down at you. And this is just a mannequin. You know you in a museum. I can't imagine what somebody would have feel if one of these fellas catch them after dark in Georgia back in the day. The next thing they show you is as you go further into the room, they have some photos under some cloth. Like you can't see the photo, you have to lift up the cloth to see the photo. And they let you know that it's graphic images. So in other words, look at your own risk. When you lift up the cloth, it's actual photos of people getting lynched. When I say lynch, right? People getting hanged, people getting burnt, dogs biting people. Actual photos of them things. You talk about silence, water in my eye at this point. I can't even think or see anybody else because I'm thinking this is what people endure, boy. I'm also thinking this is what people put other people through, but human beings put other people through this. Listen, it's sad. You go further and now you're seeing receipts for slave. Strong African male, $5. African man, woman, and child, separated, $8 a piece. Together, $55. Listen, it's a surreal thing to see. And when again, the Yankees good enough. What you're looking at is actual receipts from slaves, from slave transactions. And when you look at it, the amount that they pay, and they say this male, this and that, fertile and variety. I was thinking, boy, listen, this for real. I couldn't believe it. They even had a whole chattel house where an overseer would have stayed on a plantation. And listen, when you walk into the chattel house, you're smelling it, the scent and all, like it what you think those old days would smell like, and the bed now made up, and the actual pajamas the person was wearing there, and his boots next to the bed, and a shotgun on the wall. Listen, it's something that every black person I feel should go to a museum that have the history of slavery in it and see, because it's a surreal thing. It moves you when you go into that space. Now, I'm saying all that to say that it's an Atlanta museum. It was not a slavery museum. It's just that was a part of the past. So they had it as part of the museum. They also had the history of golf in Augusta. And they also had the Olympics in Atlanta, and the fact that Coca-Cola is there, and CNN. It had about the city as a whole. So it's not that they try to erase their history. They're showing their history. But they don't have a photo of a lynching in the middle of the town, or a statue of dogs biting a black person in the middle of the city. So I'm not understanding the theory that if we take down the statue, we lose in history. The statue is not the only way to preserve history. It have books, which, by the way, need to change, because I don't like the idea of my son learning nothing more to rediscover in these modern times. Rediscover what? You and your people on that side of the world. And listen, I don't want to knock the people who did the work to get the word to change from discover to rediscover, because that was an important piece of work. But now we had to carry the next leg of this race. They have museums here. Carry him in the museum and say what he was. You see, to you, he might have been Javier. He might have been somebody who you uphold and who was great and who conquer and make your country into a great country. But for me, he's a thief. And all right, historians, I understand. But the only Spaniard I acknowledge is the black Spaniard, Bunji Garlin. I don't want to say too much again about that. And FedEx, the thing now, DHLA, send it up the road now. If he could get it up there, we'll be glad. As a matter of fact, Javier, if you arrange this for we go put up a statue of you. If you get all the Columbus thing out of here and head it up on your side, only you and Italy and all, they split it up. Just drop them off as all they pass up that side. We'll put up a statue of you in Forest Park. So, let me stay in Europe for a minute, right? On the bright side, to come out of that heaviness of that discussion this week. we finally get back a little football. I forget Bundesliga and them thing, right? And Italian league. And sorry to all the people who love that, but I ain't watching that. So one thing I forget about football coming back is the fact that I have fantasy football, which I'm terrible at. And of course, when I go and select my side and I have all the hope in the world and I say, right, this is, you know what I mean, double game week for all those who do fantasy and thing, I put Aguero in place. And the first thing I see is Aguero in starting. But it was nice. It's just nice to see football back again. And I think the lady's glad to get rid of we two fellas. Some people were telling me last week, oh, it's so true. I say my son needs to get out of the house. Them women need to get we out of the house, so they don't want us home. And we didn't really want them home neither. I mean, we need some me time. We need to maintain a separateness from time to time. So the football give us a little bit of separateness this weekend. Or yesterday's weekend yet? No, it's yesterday. And I recorded this Thursday night, right? So I didn't see the Friday games or nothing yet. But the greatest thing to see is Arsenal versus Man City. It's funny enough, when I send out this podcast, one of the first set of feedback I get is, I hope you ain't talking about Arsenal. You know, I'm a Chelsea fan, right? He said, I hope you ain't bad talking Arsenal. And what you want me to say about Arsenal now? You want to not say nothing about them? And Chelsea must be involved somewhere, you know, because David Luiz is my hero. If anybody watched that game, well, let's tell me about David Luiz's conduct now. What's going on with David Luiz? And even before we get to him, one of the things I find real strange about this no fans in the crowd, I can't even call it a crowd, where it stands, is an odd thing where they're doing this fake cheering and stuff, which just awkward, and I don't know what that is. But it does sound like it's in sync with the game at all. So after a goal score, somebody trying to press a button like a crowd cheering. I wonder if that's for us or if that's for the players to feel like they're being celebrated. I don't know, it's just awkward. It's just unnatural. I guess like everything else in this COVID time is an awkward and unnatural thing. I don't know. But what even stranger about the Premier League, and I didn't watch Bundesliga or Italian League, so I don't know. You had to tell me. Why they have a Zoom call going on behind the goals in the Prem? Who's on this Zoom call? I don't understand where this is going on. How do want the players to concentrate if people on a Zoom call? What is going on? I don't understand. What is the point of that? What's supposed to be? It's supposed to look like the Zoom call is to discuss the game tactics. What is happening? Somebody had to help me with that. I don't understand it at all. But David Luiz, boy, I don't know what went on with you this week, boy. That man just looked like an ordinary player. He just looked like an ordinary guy. David Luiz was just looking bad out there. You see what we went through as Chelsea for so much years with David Luiz, boy. One day he's one of the best players you ever see, locking it down defense, going forward and scoring a big threat. And next day, David Luiz has just looked lost at sea, boy. And I had to say, like, it's maybe that it had no crowd and thing, and the Zoom callers distracting him and all them things. I'm feeling like we should probably, like, there's a real good opportunity for all local footballers, because if anybody know how to play in front of empty stadium, is men in the Pro League. We're not going to have no problems with no empty stadium. You could put 1,000 Zoom call in the stadium. I think our Pro League players will shine. So maybe they should send David Luiz here, let him get some training to how to play for nobody. And it will work out for him. But it's not so much the game that catch me this weekend. It's David Luiz. Y'all see David Luiz get interviewed after the game. Like he volunteered for an interview. He came back out and say, I want to do an interview based on how the game went. And he get the cameraman and get the reporter and everybody together to do this interview. And that is the funniest thing I ever see. As a matter of fact, we have some audio, right? Let me run to that audio and let you take in this. You have to hear this for yourself and let me see if it's making any sense. Let me break it down now. Yeah, take him in.
I understand you've made the decision that you wanted to come out and speak to us.
Yeah, you want to talk to us?
What is it that you want to say?
What's up? Let me know what's going on.
Simple as that. It's not the team foul, it was my fault.
Oh yeah, it was your fault. It was
I
team
take
foul.
the decision to play. I should take another decision the last 2 months.
2 months?
They didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So today is the team, I think, did well.
Yeah, they did well. 3-0. Yeah, do good.
After we did 10 men.
Right, 10 men.
Coach is amazing.
10 men did good. Yeah, amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, everybody was amazing.
Sorry, because of the distance, I didn't quite catch that. You
Yeah, social distance.
You made a different
what you said?
in the
I
last few months?
should have taken a different decision. in the
Different
last 2
decision,
months.
right? 2 months to make decision. Okay.
And I didn't. It was all
Right.
about my contract. If I
Right,
stay
your
or not. I had
contract,
more
right,
14
right.
days
Oh, 14
to be
days.
here,
Right.
and
Mhm.
and that's it. So today.
Yeah,
was
that's
my
it.
fault.
That's it. Yeah, it was your
What
fault.
decision do you think you should have taken?
No,
Yeah.
different
Uh,
decision to try to decide my future.
To decide to try to decide what?
as early as possible. But,
Right.
I
Really.
didn't.
Do you think it affected the way you played tonight then?
No. It's generally bad. You're
I
just
don't
generally
want
not
to use
good.
that as an alibi or excuse.
Right, no alibi.
It's
You're
just-
not good.
It's my fault, and that's
Sure, that's right. Yeah, that's it for real.
We certainly appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, we don't.
What do you think your future is?
No,
Is it at Arsenal?
no.
I love to be here. That's
I love
why
if you're there
I
too.
continue to
Stay
train
with
hard.
them, yeah.
That's why
Right.
I
Oh no,
came
this
here
wasn't training.
today.
This was a game.
That's why I try to do everything. That's why I
Everything.
put my
Everything.
face.
Right.
That's why I say to all the players,
Mm-hmm.
nobody had me to speak.
Don't hack
It's
them.
me.
Don't
I
hack
had
them. Don't hack them to speak.
show my face
Right. Straight face.
and be
Mhm.
here.
Yeah,
So
it'll be there like on
I want to
defense.
stay.
You stay with still.
The coach knows. The coach
Right.
wants me to stay.
The coach
so
knows. The
just,
coach knows. The coach knows.
We are waiting for the decision.
More
Thanks
decisions.
for coming out and speaking to us.
Man, this is greatest. Apologies in advance to all Arsenal fans, but I mean, what again? What are we supposed to do with that? I mean, I feel all your pain, and it's like almost like David Luiz just opening the door for Manchester City to try to make a run. I hope Liverpool only hold it together. It would be real bad if only come back from this and with that big lead start fumbling and thing and end up not taking the prem. This is supposed to be your only prem to take, and you deserve it. You all play good enough to deserve it. And it would be real sad if COVID come and get in the way of you all winning your title. But it would be real funny too. And everybody, I think, waiting for something like that to happen. And David Luiz just open the gate like he usually do. Anyway, as we're talking open the gate, the country opening back little by little. At Trinidad here, that is. We supposed to get some more, like a different level of freedom, I could call it that. Come the 22nd, so beaches, you could go back to the beach. I believe bars opening as well. I wasn't sure. I was trying to figure out today if we could sit and eat in restaurants or if they just going to offer takeout and stuff. Like, I want to go and sit down somewhere and eat for a while. Yeah, and it's that time again. But what I'm interested in figuring out is, as the country open back, what you all going to do first? Like, where you going to rush back to? I like how Richard's a businessman I respect a lot. Opening St. James, and you see how the crowd is just there. Like, I was passing by the barracks recently, and it's like, I was trying to figure out what they have a sports day or something in the barracks. Why so much people parking in the barracks? Only to realize it's Richard's, of course, the kind of sports day, but Richard's doing their thing, and they're selling the bacon shack and giving you the containers with the takeout and stuff. But I had to think that a bacon shack on the beach have a different vibes to a bacon shack in St. James, as good as it probably is. I think for me, I really want to head to a beach somewhere, and I'm looking forward to that, and just that freedom. I suppose we still have to take the precautions we have to take, but what you all gonna do first? And what going on with the Fetes? Like, I feeling like I could take a Fet. So I'm making an appeal to like some of my favorite Fet promoters, like the Wow people who do soccer, and Rise and Rose folks, and Kyrie people who do breakfasts. It's like, this might be a good time, because I'm not sure we're gonna end up with Carnival. I'm waiting to hear was the situation. But yeah, we could do that little Fet, you know. So I have some ideas for a Fet that I wanted to run. I'll just keep this between us, right? You know what I mean? Don't let everybody know the idea. But if we could have a Juve party, but we just have instead of mud and oil and thing, we do a hand sanitizer Juve party. Just keep spraying hand sanitizer and let everybody rub down with hand sanitizer and keep it pushing. I mean, if Clay could do a Clay Juve, why we can't do a little hand sanitizer Juve? And when you think about it, right, them breakfast parties, and whether it's breakfast is soccer, sunrise and them things, it's be hot, and the boss ladies say when it's hot, COVID don't spread. So by the time we think and we drink a few and it get hot, we can't really spread no COVID and everything. So we good. We could take a little breakfast party in the heat, and then it's be water. So like you could just, instead of just fetting and drinking, you just keep washing your hands, like rub your hands together like a lot while that water spraying, and we done cover down in hand sanitizer. And we could get hand sanitizer on the inside too, because Angostura you remember Angostura was making hand sanitizer. We could just sanitize the inside and the outside hand sanitize, and we wash each other. Wash your hands, and we could social distance wine too. But when it get hot, then we could jam people because it can spread. So only that is it. Next week, because I'm tired. And there's a lot, and I'm hoping that this Fet thing could really work out because we had to be able to do something better than listening to our podcast for so long and doing all these podcasts. We had to see each other in person sometime soon. So, Kwai is next week. Thanks a million.